Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. And this video I am just doing a get ready with me. I gotta do a story time. So yeah, I did list the products that I used in my video down in the description box below. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Okay y'all, so I'm gonna jump straight into the video. I already did my eyebrows and primed my face. And what I'll do is, I'm not gonna name all the products that I use. I'll just put them in the description box below. But yeah, so let's jump straight into the story time though. So let me just say, first of all, when you go on a trip, make sure you guys are going on a trip with people that you get along with, people that know your attitude, people that know how you act. Because look, when we got stuck, that was a good thing for all of us, that we all got along, and it was okay to be stuck with each other for extra days. So let me just tell y'all first of all about the trip. The trip was fun or whatever. That wasn't our first time going to Atlanta together, but it was our first time getting stuck. Let me just say that. Okay, so I'm gonna start with day one. Or maybe I should rewind it because, okay, first of all, so I'm gonna do like a week before, because a week before, of course, we was watching the weather or whatever so we could know what to pack. And first it was saying that it was going to snow in Atlanta. So I'm like, okay, no, that's not cool. And then, like, of course, over time went by, like, the weather was changing or whatever. So it turns out that it wasn't going to end up raining or snowing in Atlanta, but it was back in Texas. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know, it doesn't even matter. Like, we're not even gonna be there, y'all. That's what I thought, okay? I thought it wasn't going to matter. So the first day that we were down there, first of all, it started when we got off the plane. Let's just say that. So we get off the plane or whatever, and of course we had to Uber, which in the long run, as the story goes on, we should have just gotten a freaking rental car, because the Uber stuff was very expensive. It was only 4 of us, and I'm pretty sure we spent alone with the Uber driver, like, I don't even know, but it was like a lot. But anyways, so the first day or whatever that we got there, you know, we called an Uber driver to come get us from the airport. We stayed about, I don't know, about 20 minutes from the airport or whatever. And so first of all, my friend, she booked the room or whatever. It was actually her birthday, so she booked the room or whatever. And we get in the Uber driver. I called the Uber, so we were taking turns calling the Uber. I called the Uber and I put the address. So I'm like, you know, asked her, like, what's the address or whatever. I want to make sure that I put in the right address. You know, she gave me the address and she was like 299 whatever, blah blah blah. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I type in 299, you know, whatever the address is or whatever. And the Uber driver, as we're in the car, I'm like, okay, it doesn't look like we're going to a place that we're gonna like to stay or whatever. So I'm like, okay, maybe I just don't need to say nothing. You know, I'm not even from here, so maybe I just don't know where we're going. But what I do know is it don't look like a place that we would want to stay. So I'm like, okay, you know. So I leaned over and I'm like, hey, did you give me the right address? And she was like, yeah, I gave you the right address or whatever. And I'm like, okay. So I looked online and I'm trying to figure out, you know, the correct address. So on the address online, I believe it said Northwest, but on our phone it said Southeast. So I'm like, okay, we can't be going to the right place. But I'm like, double check, you know, whatever, to see the actual address that is booked on, because yeah, I'm getting a little nervous. So she's like, okay, you know, cool. So it turns out the address, you know, online it just says Southeast, well, Northwest, but it was the same hotel room. Okay, so I'm like, okay, cool, you know, whatever, y'all. the Uber driver pulls up and we're getting closer to the place, and the Uber driver pulls up and he's like, you know, like, this is your location. Y'all, it's in the middle of nowhere. So I'm like, sir, there's no possible way. Like, okay, I get it, like, it's our fault. Well, our fault that we put in the incorrect address, but you know damn well we're not staring in the damn forest. Like, he literally pulled up to like a middle of nowhere, and we're like, sir, like, this is not where we need to go. Like, and I'm like, okay, Therese, don't have an attitude, you know, it's not his fault. So I'm trying to ask him, like, he really didn't know much English or whatever. So I'm like, okay, don't catch your attitude. So I'm asking him, like, okay, sir, like, what do we need to do? Because obviously we got the wrong address in here. This is not our hotel, whatever. And he's like, well, you need to go back in there. Pretty much saying, like, go back in and fix the address. So I'm like, cool. So I go do that. And so it ended up charging us again. So I'm like, oh my God, like, this trip is already starting off, like, it's already finna get on my nerves. So then I'm like, okay, relax, you know, like, it was just an honest mistake. Okay, so we pull up to the room. Okay, everything looks good or whatever. So first of all, the people that was working at the hotel room, they were really, like, rude. Let me just say that. They was very rude. Whatever. So anyways, we get to the room. It was the room that we asked for. Everything looks good. Everything looks clean. Okay, cool. That was day one. We really just chilled in the hotel room because we had been traveling all day or whatever. So we just went to go get liquor and, you know, all that good stuff. And then we ended up going out to eat. We went out to the Juicy Crab, which was really good. And I do must say, like, every place that we went to had music. So I wanted to vlog everything that we did or whatever. I wanted to vlog the trip, but yeah, every place had music. So I'm like, okay, maybe it wouldn't be a good idea to vlog. Y'all probably can't hear anything that I'm saying. So yeah, no vlogging. Okay, cool, whatever. So the next day or whatever, we all wanted to go bowling. So we went to the bowling alley, which had music, and it had really good food though, and it had a bar, which I really liked. And the drinks were really strong. Oh my goodness. I went up to the bar and I told her, like, yeah, it's my friend's birthday in a couple of hours. And she was like, okay, I got the perfect drink. Y'all, that drink was so strong. I'm serious. It was so strong. I don't even know what it was, but she, like, mixed a whole bunch of stuff together. But it was good though. So that was actually the second night, Friday. We went bowling, which was pretty fun. Like I said, my other two friends, they didn't even know how to bowl, but they got the hang of it though. So yeah, so that was the second night. The second night was pretty fun. We were supposed to go out or whatever each night. Like Friday we were supposed to go out, and we didn't go out. We just went out for those drinks or whatever at the bowling alley, which was good. I mean, we didn't even need to go out at that point because we were already drinking and stuff. So that was pretty cool. So then this is when it's a never-ending story, y'all. Because I was like, oh my goodness. So of course, even though it didn't snow down there or whatever, it was still obviously cold. And when I say cold, I mean cold. Like, Texas is cold when it's cold, but this was like dry cold, like unbearable. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, it's so cold. And the outfits that we wore, like, of course we wore something that'll keep us warm, but it wasn't stuff that's like for like the freezing cold. But it was really, really cold. Okay, so we decided to go to the Trap Museum. Okay, y'all. So neither one of us had been to the Trap Museum the last time we came down or whatever. So, y'all, we pull up and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm expecting a really big building, or truthfully, I don't even know what I was expecting. But when we pulled up, the Uber driver was like, okay, you know, like, we're here. And I'm like, what? Like we're finna have to wait in this line? Like, no, it is cold as hell outside and you want us to wait outside? No. So I'm looking at my friends like, okay, I want somebody to say, no, we don't want to go here no more, because I don't want to wait in the cold. I'm like, the line was literally like wrapped around the entire building, okay? Like going up a hill type of like, no, it was just a no for me. So I'm like, could somebody just say they don't want to go anymore? Because at this point, I don't care about seeing nothing in the museum. I'm freezing cold. People outside are like, and some of the girls, like, you know, their outfits were cute. Some of them were cute, but they were like not dressed for the weather, because I'm like, ain't no way I'm about to be wearing something like that in this freezing cold. No, it's a no for me. So then I'm like, so everybody, like the Uber driver's pretty much like, yeah, like this is on a good day. It's usually more packed than this. So we're like, okay. So obviously we're about to stay. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Okay, y'all. We get out, and it's, like I said, it's freezing cold, and I definitely wasn't dressed for the occasion. Like, I had on sandals, y'all. Like, throughout the year, I usually wear sandals. I'm not really a shoe person. Like, I have shoes, but I just feel like some outfits are just not for shoes. So I had on sandals, which my feet they were cold, but they wasn't like unbearable cold. I think it was more so like my arms being cold. Or whatever, even though I had on a jacket. So I did have on a jacket, but it was still cold. So yeah, so we're waiting in line, and a lady comes up or whatever, and she's like, basically yelling at the line, like, you guys, if you guys want to skip, then y'all could do that. It's an extra $20, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, you know, like, we're waiting to see what, everybody else is doing. So when she said that, like, a whole bunch of people got out of line. So I'm like, okay, cool, you know, we could just stay here now because everybody left. Y'all, if I was the people that paid the extra $20, I would have been so heated. I would have been so mad, because they still got around the corner or whatever and still have to wait in line. So I would have been pretty upset. I'm thinking like, or maybe they thought too, that if they skipped the line that, you know, they about to go straight in. No, sir. You were still waiting in line. Like, even though that part of the line was short, like, you still had to wait. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm cool with waiting now. Like, I mean, we're pretty much at the front of the line now. So the lady is pretty much like, oh, there's a 2-hour wait. No, ma'am. So I'm like, she's still saying that. I'm like, I'm not about to wait 2 hours to go to a museum. I'm not about to do it. But anyways, turns out that obviously the wait wasn't 2 hours. So I really don't even know why. Maybe she was just saying that so people can skip the line or something. I don't really know. But yeah, it wasn't 2 hours at all. More like, we probably waited outside for like 30 minutes or whatever, which wasn't bad. So yeah. Okay, cool, whatever. Y'all, we get into the museum finally. Oh my God, it was so many people. And I'm like, oh my God, like, this is a lot of people in here. Y'all, when I say it was so like crowded, I was expecting it to be like more room. I understand, like, it is a museum, but like, I wasn't expecting them to let so many people in, being that they were saying that it's a wait and stuff like that. So I was thinking they was only letting a certain amount of people in, you know, because of the whole COVID stuff or whatever. No, it was a lot of people in there. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So we go to the museum. They had a little bar in there, which I really liked. I wasn't expecting them to have a bar in there at all, but yes, so it was a bar in there. They have some really nice drinks or whatever. And so I'm like, before we go outside, y'all, we need to call an Uber, because there's no way that I'm about to be waiting in this cold anymore. Like, no, y'all need to call an Uber. So we called the Uber. We waited till the Uber got pretty close or whatever. So we can go outside and wait. So get to the Uber, y'all. This is where the night began. This was this Saturday? This was Saturday. Did I already say that? Yeah, this was Saturday. Yes, this was Saturday. Okay, y'all. So we get into the Uber and my friend is like, hey, you know, I need to stop at the store. I need to get some stuff or whatever. So we're like, okay, well, on the way to the room, you know, we can just go ahead and make the stop or whatever. So the Uber driver, she was pretty cool, whatever. So we get to, I believe we stopped at Kroger. So we stopped at Kroger's or whatever. And we all had got out the car to go inside or whatever. So my friend went to go get what she needed to get, and then we got some snacks and stuff too for like the room. Y'all, I don't know if we took too long for her or what the situation may have been, but I don't think it was even that long. Y'all, we get back to the Uber, right? She's like, your location changed, like I'm no longer your Uber driver. And we're sitting there like, how is that even possible? Like, we didn't change anything on the phone. So we're looking back to my friend like, did you change something? And he's like, no, like I just looked at the phone and it still had her on here. So I don't know, pretty much like I don't know what she's talking about. Like, so I'm like, okay, is there a way, like we're in your car, so is there a way that we could like request you again or something? Like, she was like, no, there's no way. And she literally clicks on another person that needs like a Uber or whatever. So I'm looking at her like, okay, now I feel like you changed it or you canceled our ride or something like that, because why are you clicking on a new person? We need to figure this out. Like, you need to take us to our room. And so she was like, yeah, like, I don't know what happened. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So let's just call another Uber driver, y'all. So that was number one of the night or whatever. So we finally had to call another Uber driver, which took like 15 minutes for them to come. Like, oh my God, my patience was like, whoo, they was running so low. So we go to the room, we're getting dressed or whatever. We're excited because we finally about to go out to the club. We haven't went out. We already said that we were going out. We haven't been going out. Okay, cool. Yeah. We get ready to go to, so we were gonna go to the restaurant first, and then we were gonna go to the club. So we pull up to the restaurant, y'all. And first of all, I remind you, it's cold, like I said. So we got our heels, and sorry I'm kind of looking this way because I need to see in the mirror because everything is so far back. But yeah, so we pull up to the restaurant. It's cold. We have on heels or whatever, and I'm like, you know, go check in or whatever, because it looks like everybody is waiting or whatever outside. So I'm like, of course, like, I understand, like, it's a restaurant, you know, we might have some wait time or whatever. Y'all, that lady was like, oh, we're not taking any more people. There's 18 groups or like 18 people in front of y'all. And we were like, what the hell? Like, y'all barely just opened. Like, we pulled up to the restaurant like when it first opened. So I wasn't understanding how on earth was there that much of a wait. Like, did we have to like request something online or something? Like, what? I was really not understanding. So luckily we had ate something already earlier that day, because we ended up not waiting in line for the restaurant. So my friend was like, you know what, like, it's cool, whatever, we already ate, let's just go ahead and go to the club. She was like, let's just go ahead and go to the club. So everybody like, okay, cool, whatever. Y'all, so we pull up to the club. No, I said the part. So we call the Uber. So at this point, it's my turn to call the Uber. So I call the Uber because I'm like, there's no way, like, we're about to sit out here and wait. Like, we need to hurry up and call the Uber or whatever. Yeah, so the Uber pulls up. It took them about 8 minutes to come or whatever. Uber driver pulls up, y'all. We get inside of the Uber, and I typed in the location or whatever as to where we're going, and the Uber driver is like, because it was like, I think it was like $60 or something like that. So the Uber guy is like, if I drive off, it's gonna charge you this $60, but the club is like right down the street. And so I'm like, what is right down the street? Because at this point I'm about to like catch an attitude because I'm having to walk in these dang on heels. So he's like, yeah, it's just about a 1 minute, 2 minute walk. And so we're like, okay, cool, whatever. Let's just go ahead and walk or whatever. So we get to the club, y'all. This is where tragic begins. Like, I cannot make this up. So we get to the front or whatever. We get there and the guy is like, hey, you know, it's $30 to get in. And we're like, okay, cool. My friend is like, she's like, all right, well, let me call my friend and let him know, whatever. And so we're waiting outside. As we're waiting outside, like, we're preparing to go inside. We're getting our IDs ready and stuff like that, getting our money ready. Y'all, why I realized I didn't have my wallet. I don't have my wallet. When I tell you, I instantly caught an attitude. Instantly, I'm like, this whole night gonna be ruined if I don't find my damn wallet. Because I'm gonna have attitude. I'm not going to have fun. So I'm like, I have to find my wallet or the whole trip is ruined. Like, I have my ID in there. I have my credit card in there. Like, I'm not about to be able to get on the air, like in the airport without my ID. Y'all, we have to find my ID. We have to find my wallet. So my friends is like, don't overreact. Like, it's okay. Like, your wallet might be back at the room. But I'm like, you know what? I know I had it when we went into Kroger's. Like, what if I left it at Kroger's? Or what if I dropped it in the Uber driver's car? Like, oh my God, like, we have to find my wallet. So my friend was like, okay, well, you know, it's pretty early anyway. Let's just go back to the room. We can get your wallet because I know it's in there. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, relax, stay calm. So mind you, it's still cold. I'm gonna put that on your mind every time. It's still cold outside. So my friend is like, you know, we're waiting outside or whatever because we didn't go in. But I'm like, you know what? Like, it's her birthday. We could really go inside of the club and I can worry about the wallet later because we're already here. But I'm like, no, like, I need to make sure that my wallet is in the room because tomorrow when we get ready to leave, I need to make sure that I have everything that I need. Okay, y'all. So as we're sitting waiting, like, I kid you not, my friend, so we're waiting or whatever. So I'm like, first of all, we pull up the Uber, that shit said $100. $100 just to go back to the room. And that's why I was like, okay, y'all, like, we can really just go back into the club because, I mean, $100, like, no, that was crazy. So she ended up calling her friend or whatever to come pick us up, take us back to the room. So, you know, so that I can check on my wallet to make sure that it's there, y'all. I kid you, maybe like 10 to 15, no, maybe like 10 minutes into waiting until her friend got there to pick us up, to take us back to the room. Y'all, my friend leaned over because he was standing in front of, he was pretty much blocking the wind from blowing or whatever while we were sitting down. So he leans over to me, y'all. He said, bitch. And I'm like, what? Like, what? Because I already can't find my wallet. I got an attitude. Like, what? What is it? He's like, our flight got canceled. And when I like, instantly my whole heart dropped. Like, what? Like, no, it didn't. Like, if you playing, like, you need to say that you're playing. Because right now, I'm not in the mood to play. I lost my wallet. Like, what do you mean our flight got canceled? And he's like, it's canceled. Like, I'm dead ass serious right now. So I'm like, okay, let me check my own email for myself. Y'all, our flight is canceled with no updates, no when the flight is gonna be rescheduled, nothing. It just says your flight back to Houston, Texas is canceled. And I'm like, no. Now I got an attitude even more. Can't find my wallet. It's freezing cold. and now our flight back to Houston is canceled. No. So I tell my other friends, like, y'all, our flight back home is canceled. And they're like, what? One of my other friends was like, are you serious? I have to celebrate Valentine's Day. And I'm like, unfortunately, I'm serious as hell and I don't want to be. And so, like, my other friend, she's like, oh my God, like what are we going to do? And I'm like, oh my God, if it's not one thing, it's another. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to get back home? So when her friend arrives, y'all, we are literally like stuck in a frenzy. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, the whole ride back to the room was like silence, because it's like, what are we fit to do for real, y'all? So we are literally looking up flights to see what is going back into Houston, because we got to get up out of here, okay? So the flights we're looking up different flights, and they were saying like $800, $1,000. We found one that was like $3 something or something like that. So we're like, okay, could everybody do this? You know, like, we can go ahead and get the ticket now. And so I'm like, no, like, I don't think that we should, you know, buy the ticket back home, because if our flight back to Houston got canceled because of the weather, then, you know, other airlines might be canceled back to Houston. So I'm like, no, y'all, like, let's call customer service first before we purchase these tickets, because they're going to be non-refundable or whatever. So, or we're going to have an extra ticket back home, or some extra points or whatever, because we up here buying extra stuff. So I'm like, okay, y'all, like, we just need to really, like, call the customer service. So I'm calling, I think it was like Delta Airline or whatever. So I'm calling them, I'm on the phone, and I'm like, okay, can't wait till somebody answered. Y'all, I stayed on customer service hold line for 2 whole hours. 2 whole hours. And I'm like, okay, maybe they're closed, or maybe they're not answering because all these people that's going back to Houston, their flights are canceled. Like, everybody wants this cheap flight back home. Like, I don't know, but they didn't even answer the phone. So tomorrow is at 11. So, you know, hopefully by then, you know, we can know what's going on. Y'all, like, when I tell you, everybody was so upset and so mad about the situation. Like, we had to call our family to let them know that we're not coming home in time. We don't know when we come in. So you got parents that are freaking out and stuff like that. So at that point, I'm just like, well, you know what? We're stuck. We're stuck. There's nothing we can do about it. We are literally stuck here. Oh my God. So my friend is like, well, I mean, there's nothing we can do. We can try to find another room, or we can, you know, book for another day or whatever. By the time we wake up in the morning, luckily we all got up at a timely manner, because like I said, we had, first of all, we requested to have late checkout or whatever, because originally our flight wasn't supposed to leave until kind of like the afternoon or whatever. So we had originally requested that, but like I said, we had to call to make sure that everything was good. So luckily we woke up in a timely manner. So call the front desk or whatever, and we're like, hey, you know, like, how much would it be for, by that time we had checked our emails that morning, and it said that we wasn't coming home until Wednesday, which was, we would have been there for a week. So we had to request a couple more nights or whatever. So she was like, well, luckily y'all called, because we had probably like 20 minutes to book a couple more nights. I think it was like 3 more nights, to book 3 more nights. Otherwise we would have had to get out of that room, and then we would have had to do all the booking stuff again. But like, the room that we had was so perfect, it was so roomy. So we're like, no, we'd rather keep this room. So she's like, okay, well, you know, you guys need to come down to the lobby to go ahead and book your other 3 nights. So luckily, like I said, we woke up at a timely manner to go ahead and get that done. So of course we had to spend extra money for the room for those 3 nights. And then, so we're like, okay, whatever, we're here, there's nothing we can do about it. We might as well just enjoy the other 3 days that we have. Y'all, So at this point, we're pretty much like, you know, we just might as well make the best of it. Like, we're here now. There's nothing we could do, y'all. So later on that day, we're like, you know what? We're just going to chill, because I believe it was Sunday. So we're like, you know, we're just going to chill. We're not going to do much. So we ordered some food. We wanted, so I was like, you know, everybody agreed that we were going to eat Popeyes. Y'all, I don't even know what is wrong with them, but so we ordered all this food from Popeyes or whatever. Y'all, we got the food. We had no ketchup, we had no hot sauce, we had no honey, we had nothing but the chicken and the biscuits. So I'm like, okay, I requested this numeral. I requested to have all this stuff with the Uber Eats. Why don't we have any of it? And we ordered a gallon of lemonade. Y'all, why they give us a regular size cup of lemonade? I'm like, you know what? This is our last time doing Uber Eats, because we're spending all this money just to have nothing that we asked for, nothing that we paying for. So this is the last time. So I'm like, you know, we should go get groceries. I mean, we're going to be here for a couple more days. We should go get groceries. So the next day, you know, we went to go get groceries, because we're not about to spend all this money on this Uber Eats, y'all. Okay, wrap up the story. So we end up going to Cascade, which was really fun. The music is really nice or whatever. Food was pretty good. Yeah, so we go to Cascade. Cascade was pretty fun, like I said. And then we went to Fat Tuesday, because it was supposed to be like Mardi Gras or whatever, but they wasn't even celebrating that. So we just ended up going to Fat Tuesdays to get some drinks or whatever. And because the next day we were leaving, so we were all excited about leaving, y'all. So we get to the airport, you know, we get checked in, everything is good. So we boarding the flight or whatever. So me and my friend, like the lady, we wasn't expecting her to come or whatever, because it was literally time to take off. And so we see a woman walking down, and she's like, oh, like, I think I'm sitting right here. And she's looking at her ticket, and I'm like, well, what does your ticket say? And she's like, she doesn't know where it says. So I'm like, okay, well, let me see your ticket, or whatever. So obviously she was supposed to be right there. Okay. I already, mind you, she's walking down the plane, the aisle or whatever, and she's talking. So I'm like, okay, she on the phone, you know, whatever, y'all. So, you know, we got to turn the phone on airplane mode or whatever. We're literally in the air, okay? I'm trying to watch my movie, and I hear talking. And I know she's not talking to me, so I'm like, is this woman on the damn phone? There's no way she could be on this phone, and we're up so high in the air. Like, she not on this phone, y'all. I'm like, I need to figure out this woman on this phone, because I'm gonna go into a panic attack. Like, is this woman on the phone? She's literally laughing and talking, everything, y'all. So I'm like, okay, this woman gotta be on this phone. So she's pick up her phone, she's taking pictures, you know, she let the window up, she's taking pictures or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I don't see nothing, you know, like no green line saying that she's on the phone or whatever. So I'm like, is this woman have been talking to herself the entire flight? So y'all know I can't do this and talk at the same time. But so I'm like, this woman is talking to herself the entire flight. Like, what the hell? Okay, so of course, like I said, our flight got canceled due to the bad weather or whatever. Y'all, I literally kid you not. Of course, they was letting us know, like, hey, we're about to go into some high winds. We're about 30 minutes out from Houston. And so, of course, we're about to pretty much have some turbulence. Y'all, this woman, oh my God, hold on. Because I'm going to have to show y'all. Okay, so, yeah, so we're on the plane, y'all. The pilot is letting us know, like, hey, we're about to go through some winds. It's going to get a little bumpy. Okay, cool. Kind of expected, you know, we're going through bad weather or whatever. Y'all, this lady soon, I'm talking about, soon as the turbulence started, she's like, and I'm like, get me away from her, because I'm trying to calm my own nerves, and she up here like being dramatic as hell, and I'm like, ma'am, like, you have to stop. And she's like really holding her purse and holding the seat, and y'all, she was just cutting up, and I'm like, I'm trying to I'm turning the movie up as loud as I can, because I'm like, I literally cannot sit by this woman, because she about to make me have a damn anxiety attack. I'm already nervous. I don't like being in the air. Like, you have to stop. So I glance over like diagonally, and there's a woman sitting there throwing up. Like, I don't know, but everybody around me was like freaking out, and I'm like, oh my God, like telling myself like, please stay calm, please stay calm, please stay calm, because if you start acting up, you're gonna have an anxiety attack. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I just want to land safely. That's all I want to do, y'all. We probably went through turbulence for, I don't know, maybe like 10-15 minutes, and the whole time this lady is cutting up, like the entire time. And I'm like, she's like, I'm never getting on the flight again. And I'm like, she's loud. First of all, she is loud. So I bet the people were like, ma'am, are you okay? Or like, what? Because you're scaring everyone that's here. Okay, you need to relax. So I'm like, I just want to get off this plane. I just really do. I want to get off this plane, y'all. Okay, flight finally ends. We land. Okay, we're all safe and sound. So we get ready to go get our luggages or whatever. We're praying that the car is gonna start, because first of all, it's really cold. We've been gone for a week. Nobody has cranked the car up. So we're like, okay, hopefully the car is gonna crank. Okay, on the bright side, the car did crank. So we're on the road or whatever. Mind you, the weather is bad back in Texas, so we're driving really slow. We get to my friend's house, and she's getting ready to get her stuff out the car. Her electricity doesn't work to her apartment, so her garage is not. So her garage isn't letting up, y'all, and so we're like, well, use your front door. She put the deadbolt lock. She locked it, y'all. So now we're like, what the hell? Like, okay, so you're gonna come back home with us or whatever. She was like, well, no, like, I'm gonna have to go to work or whatever. So we're like, okay, well, I mean, like, what are we gonna do? Because we're trying to get home before, you know, the roads freeze or whatever, because they were saying like in the nighttime the roads were gonna get really bad. So we're like, okay, well, yeah, we need to get going. So we drive her to another friend's house or whatever, which is back by the airport, might I say. So we're like, okay, whatever, we can't leave her here. She doesn't want to go back home with us or whatever. So we drop her off at our friend's house. And we're literally passing her place, y'all. We're passing her place, and she calls and's like, okay, y'all, y'all gonna be so upset. I'm like, what now? Because it's a never-ending story since we've been on this trip. And she's like, well, I forgot my garage thing in the car. And we're like, what the hell? Like, we need to get back home. That's another 30 minutes back. And so she's like, well, I'm sorry, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you know what, it's okay. Like, luckily she was able to get into her apartment, even though she didn't have her clicker to the garage. So yeah, so we get back home. Luckily everything, because you have people stuff that they, like, people didn't have any lights, electricity. People didn't have any food because they were buying up everything that was in the store. So like it was just all like, it was crazy. So luckily when I got home, everything was good, and I was so nervous because my apartment's like a pipe busted, but it was like the opposite side, but I was still scared, like, oh my God, like, I don't have time for this. Luckily, everything was good. Everybody's family was okay. We made it back safely, but I'm never gonna travel in the cold, bad weather again. I learned a valuable lesson. I'm pretty sure all my friends learned a valuable lesson, but that was a big no for me. And for Texas to be showing out like that, y'all know better than that. Y'all know that it don't be snowing and stuff like that. So I don't even know why y'all set the machines up like that. Had us out there cold like that. So yeah, that's the story of us being stuck in Atlanta, which was, I'm pretty sure if we had a lot more stuff to do, then we would have really, you know, had a really great time. Not that the time was bad or anything like that, but I do feel like it would have been better if we actually was planning to stay that long, because we literally had no other plans besides that. So yeah, now I just need to put on my lashes, and then we're done with this look. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna do my lip whenever I finish getting dressed, because like I said, I have somewhere to go. So this is pretty much the finished look. This is just a natural look. I hope you guys enjoyed my little story time, even though it wasn't a good time. But yeah, so I'm about to get ready, and I will talk to you guys later.